Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where we're serving up some humble pie. Even I'm having a slice, because love him or hate him, you gotta give it up for Jimmy. Jimmy C. I'm in fact in awe of Jimmy, because at this point, it is unbelievable, yet here it is. 7 weeks out, Avatar: The Way of Water has not only climbed to number 4 on the all-time worldwide chart, as expected, but it got there, it did it, giving Jimmy 3 of the top 4 movies of all time. He is the king of Hollywood. You can't get upset with him for saying it, because it's true. I mean, one guy has made 3 of the 4 most successful movies of all time. Wrap your head around that. It's incredible. Wow. You know, I like to say that, you got to go bold to win, and I think that Jimmy did that. And I think it's scary. And he was scared. He was super scared to release this movie, but he did it. And you got to go big, to win big. And he did. It's just absolutely incredible. So not only did he reach that milestone, but look at this. Now he might crack the all-time domestic top 10 as well with this movie. We thought at least, it didn't do too well domestic. Yes, it did. And while Avatar 2 is losing its Dolby theaters on Friday to Universal's Knock at the Cabin, Universal, again, the only one to put up a fight here, it looks like Avatar is still keeping its IMAX screens. So how high could this thing go before Quantumania pops up February 17th? There's a slim chance it could overtake Jimmy C's own Titanic on the worldwide chart. But that's about to get a re-release too for Valentine's Day. It's so weird, by the way, to see Titanic merch over on Shop Disney. The mouse is all in on Jimmy C. But what are they going to do with him? What are they going to do with him? It's been almost impossible to merchandise Avatar. The theme park experience has done very well in Animal Kingdom in Florida, so they'll maybe do more with that. And again, I've been saying I think an animated Disney Plus series could be something. But it's weird. Other franchises, Disney can milk the heck out of them. That's the Disney formula of success. That's why they have a whole empire. But they haven't really been able to use Avatar, and maybe even, they're trying. Is anyone buying Titanic merch? They haven't really been able to make it work quite the same way. But I'm excited to see them try, and I'm excited to see what maybe they do. But anyway, domestic is where this movie could still make some real moves. Avatar 2 is just $3 million away from cracking the top 10, which it will definitely do. It's definitely going to make the top 10 domestic too. But he'll need a little over $30 million to pass Jurassic World and secure the number 9 spot. And, and keep himself from being booted by the next big movie to come along in probably just a couple of months. This weekend, Avatar 2 added about 16 million domestic, with just a 22% drop. Again, unbelievable stuff here, but it's happening. And again, Knock at the Cabin could finally unseat it from the number 1 spot this coming weekend. Megan couldn't do it, but we're a couple of further weeks out now, and so maybe Knock at the Cabin can. Let's look at M. Night's recent openings. He really faltered there. But he has had some strong debuts, which would easily outpace Avatar 2 at this point in Avatar 2's run. But 2 of those, though, relied on the nostalgia factor for Unbreakable. Although I believe when Split came out, the general audience didn't know right away that that's what it was, that it was a cool prequel or such. But, we'll see. We'll see. Unfortunately, the LGBT factor for this new movie is still a wild card. I'm not sure how that's going to affect the film with mainstream audiences, because a couple of other projects have had a problem with that. We'll see what the reviews are like on Wednesday when the embargo lifts. If the reviews are really strong, I think it'll open at number 1. So it'll be a real race. It'll be a close race for number 1. And so I'm wondering, are you planning to see Knock at the Cabin this coming weekend? Do you already have your tickets? Are you thinking about it? What's going on? As to the rest of the top 10, Universal's strategy continues to dominate, with both Puss in Boots and Megan still doing very well in theaters, while they also do incredibly well on digital. And in its 5th week, 3rd and wide release, A Man Called Otto continues to not embarrass itself with respectable numbers and holds. They're not amazing, but again, the movie's not embarrassing itself. Now, the bottom half of the top 10 continues to be an eclectic mix. This is very interesting. India's Pathan is actually at number 5, with a strong enough debut to place ahead of Missing in Plane, in Missing's 2nd weekend and Plane's 3rd weekend, I believe. And doubling 3rd weekend for Plane, I think. And anyway, It doubled the debut of Infinity Pool with less than half the amount of theaters. So that is very impressive. And look at that. China has a movie in our top 10. The Wandering Earth 2 also managed to place. The first film opened in 2019, made almost $700 million in China, and has been streaming on Netflix ever since for several years now. Where did you see Wandering Earth 2 this weekend? And where did you see the first film? That's very, very interesting. It's like a big space movie. It's some people, it's kind of propaganda, but apparently it's good propaganda. Mia Goth is assembling a rather strong fandom. A number of you were like, where's Mia Goth's Oscar nomination? And the rest of us laughed. But anyway, you guys are out there. And some of you are campaigning for her to be DC's new Harley Quinn. And she does have a natural voice, kind of like Harley Quinn. And I could see it maybe being a fit, especially because, just like DC, she has a vocal fandom that don't show up to buy tickets either. I mean, I think she could maybe do the role, but I think that it would maybe hurt the film doing well. I think it would I think it would undercut the Batman commercially or wherever you decided to use her. I don't think she's a good choice. But you know what? She's carved out a very nice career for herself. As for Alexander Skarsgård, who, as I said, was her biggest leading man yet, I think he's given up on being a huge movie star. I think he understands that it's just not going to happen for him. And that's okay. He'll work forever at this point. And I think that's now what he's trying to protect. And he's doing that by keeping things interesting. You never know what he's going to do. And making sure that he keeps that Hollywood indie film cred. And I think a Cronenberg on your resume, even Cronenberg Jr., does just that. By the way, Robert Pattinson, who I think is building himself into a movie star, is going to star in a similar type film from Parasite's Bong Joon-ho, also about cloning, also weird, but I suspect just commercial enough to do well. We'll see. Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer was also a little bit too weird to do well in the commercial space, but we'll see if he learned his lesson there. But this is from Warner Brothers, who hopefully can afford to promote it when it comes out next year. And I think that could maybe be big. I think that could be really good. I'm excited about that, actually. And conservative event Left Behind managed to also make the top 10, starring Kevin Sorbo, who has decided to join the James Woods, Gina Carano, Kirk Cameron brigade. And well, let's just leave it at that. New horror movie Fear is no Terrifier 2, failing to make the top 10 when it debuted this weekend and was also edged out by Billie Eilish's Friday night only concert event. Now let's head over to the streaming, where Nielsen took their sweet time once again, this time releasing their top 15 charts for 2022. But you know what? It turns out it was worth the wait, because this is some juicy stuff. So let's start with original shows. Netflix has 13 out of the 15. But look, Ozark, by the way, is second place. Yeah, that show's definitely coming back. I believe in a few years, Ozark will return. But only Amazon Prime was able to get in here as well, with 2 spots in the top 15. Rings of Power making the list, but not House of the Dragon. HBO splitting their audience between 2 services continues to really hurt them when it comes to headlines that are crucial in the streaming wars. As I said, though, I think there are some old school contracts that are probably keeping them from consolidating. It's a mess, though. The real shocker, though, is that not only is there not a single Disney Plus show on this list, but that Amazon Prime's The Boys did make the list. And it's actually not, it's not at the very bottom even. It's like a solid entry, beating out Marvel and Star Wars content. Now, to be fair, Nielsen counts all seasons, so The Boys is working with 24 episodes here for 3 seasons, while Mando is the only Disney Plus Star Wars or Marvel show so far to have aired a second season. We'll talk about Loki in a moment, and that second season wasn't during 2022. But overall, for The Boys, this is an incredible achievement and headline, and allows The Boys to take yet another step towards legitimacy in the industry. Anthony Starr's recent acting nominations have also helped. The Boys' social media is already making use of this, as they should, and you will be sure to see it played up when season 4 debuts. It's suspected to debut at the end of 2023, the end of this year. And then during the summer of this year, we're getting The Boys' first live-action spin-off, Gen V, which will only build this empire. You've got to love that The Boys is so good, it's becoming the very thing it's lampooning. With the benefit of no real expectations from the source material, they vaguely follow it, but it's such a small fandom, and they do such a good job, everyone's fine with the changes that they've made. And they also don't have any parent company concerns. Amazon's like, just make us competitive. And they're doing it. Amazon, by the way, is hoping to get multiple franchises going with Rings of Power. Hey, it is number 15 on this list with only 8 episodes. I mean, that is an accomplishment. And they just went all in themselves on Tomb Raider. On Friday, that was a big announcement that they were going to try and make a Tomb Raider cinematic universe. And you're like, doesn't Tomb Raider have just one character? And they're like, shut up. All right, so anyway, Amazon, that's what they're trying to do. But for The Boys, this win really cannot be overstated. This is incredible. And I hope that it leads, by the way, to more opportunities for the cast of The Boys. Why aren't they getting work outside of the show? They should. And I think they're going to start to get it because clearly Hollywood will finally recognize that they have fans. By the way, Disney Plus, what can Disney Plus learn from this? They might want to consider investing in multiple seasons rather than a ton of single seasons. And think about even what they're doing with WandaVision. They're not making WandaVision season 2. It becomes Agatha Coven of Chaos. And then that becomes, or whatever they're going to call it. And then that becomes Vision Quest. And you're like, why isn't this WandaVision seasons 1, 2, and 3? You're hurting yourself. We'll see what happens with Loki season 2, which comes out this year as well, as season 1 is still Marvel's most watched show. So maybe they can make some real waves with that. But I think the Disney Plus strategy, they're like, we're laughing all the way to the bank, man, because they still have a ton of subs and are making a lot of money. But I think this headline hurts a little bit. I think they're like, we got to fix this. Disney Plus at least did very well with movies, dominating this list with 10 entries versus Netflix's 5. Now, I know some Eternals fans were very happy and felt vindicated to see it be the only Marvel film on this list, and thank you for thinking of me and messaging me. But I have to say that I think this only underscores that most people opted to watch Eternals at no extra cost on Disney Plus rather than see it in theaters. But I will add that this shows that this is a brutal commentary on the rewatchability of Marvel's other films that hit Disney Plus last year. I'm talking Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder. That neither one of them showed up on this list is a bad look. As for the overall chart, Disney Plus's Babysitting for Kids and Adults also managed to place with acquired shows Bluey and The Simpsons, and it looks like Netflix was able to make up for the loss of The Office with Seinfeld, the only acquired sitcom on this list. And Peacock is counted by Nielsen, by the way. So where's The Office? HBO Max, Peacock, Hulu, and Apple TV weren't able to place on any of these charts. Ouch. But to be fair, HBO Max and Peacock only recently allowed Nielsen to start tracking their data. So maybe they'll do better next year, but it's still pretty embarrassing. As for Nielsen's weekly charts, their latest is for the last week of 2022. No big moves here. Glass Onion and Jack Ryan continue to do very well in their second weeks. And as for new releases, Emily in Paris and Matilda were strong, while The Witcher Blood Origin and Treason did okay. They all managed to make the overall chart, so that's good. Yellowstone and The White Lotus also continued to place. Yellowstone on the overall chart too, and dominating acquired. But these are both acquired shows. Yellowstone's new season isn't even on Peacock, and White Lotus's last entry has been wrapped for a few weeks now. So that is cool. A lot of the Disney Plus, Marvel, and Star Wars shows drop like rocks once they're done, but White Lotus has stuck around due to word of mouth. And Strange World did rally to number 3 on the movies chart, the individual movies chart, but that wasn't good enough to get on the overall chart, which just shows you how poorly movies are doing compared to series. Avatar and Black Adam are also here, but their numbers are weak. They're even lower than Strange World, and so is Netflix's new release that week, White Noise. Over on Netflix's own charts for just last week, People Sure Love Dogs as Rob Lowe's Doggone moved up to first place in movies in its second week. While with shows, Vikings Valhalla also saw a surge in its second week, moving to second place, but Ginny and Georgia are still queen. That 90s show had an okay, respectable debut in 5th place, but surely would have done much better if it had actually focused on the original cast, who instead returned for cameos who set the internet a Twitter or a flutter, right? But here's the thing, you could watch the cameos on Twitter, you didn't need to go and watch the series, because, they were such a short appearance. So maybe, it would have been more expensive to bring them back, but maybe they might want to consider it if they might want to explore season 2 for that. Then because, I got to tell you, that cast ain't working. So they're available if you pay them just a little bit. Then on iTunes, sure enough, Megan, which just hit on Tuesday, as predicted, is number 1 with Puss in Boots still towards the top 10 for weeks now. Ticket to Paradise is also Universal's. Awards contenders are doing very nicely, as well as some recent theatrical hits, which is basically what iTunes top 10 looks like all the time now. It's interesting that you really see the split of people who want to watch movies in theaters and people who want to watch movies in the comfort of their own home. And they're existing simultaneously, which is like a new thing for Hollywood, which I think is actually pretty cool. But you're not going to see it for the big blockbusters. But I think you're looking at the future of the mid-range movie. See it where you want to see it, just as long as you see it. As for this coming week, finally, again, Avatar 2 is getting some real competition. Although I thought Megan turned out to be solid competition. But, can it get unseated by M. Night's Knock at the Cabin? BTS has their own concert experience starting on Wednesday, which is not one night only. It'll play in theaters, throughout. And then Paramount, so we'll see where it places. And then also Paramount has 80 for Brady hitting theaters the weekend before the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is 2 weeks out, and it's going to be a big night for trailers. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. As for streaming movies, Pamela Anderson tells her side of the story with a new documentary on Netflix this Tuesday, coinciding with a book that she has coming out. And as one of you tweeted me, Babylon will hit digital on Tuesday for digital purchase. It'll be expensive, but you can watch it in the comfort of your own home. And we'll see if its small fandom, its small but potent fandom, gets vindicated. We'll see we'll see if it places. We'll see if it trends on Twitter. We'll see what happens. And then also Black Panther Wakanda Forever hits digital and Disney Plus at no extra cost on Wednesday, and we'll be doing a watch along that very night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyone can watch along with their own copy of the film, again on Disney Plus at no extra cost, and members will be allowed to comment in the chat. And then on Friday, Netflix also has a new movie, True Spirit. Then when it comes to streaming shows, a little light this week. On Friday, we have Season 2 of Harlem debuting on Prime Video, with Apple TV debuting the first 3 episodes of Dear Edward. Shrinking, by the way, which debuted this weekend, is actually pretty good. I like it. I think it's pretty good. It's from the people who do Ted Lasso, interestingly enough. So it has a little bit of that vibe as well. It's darker, though, but not much. I liked it. Anyway, and that's this week's Movie Math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? And what do you think of how high Avatar 2 has climbed at the box office? And what do you think of the boys' win over Marvel? Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.